You've probably heard the myth that every civilization only lasts about 250 years, like it's some sort of cosmic expiration date. Rome, the Ottomans, the British Empire, all supposedly climbed the ladder, built the world, and then crumbled under their own weight, right on schedule. But here's the thing, that's not prophecy. It's not fate. It's the possewood. The purpose of a system is what it does. If civilizations keep collapsing every few centuries, maybe the real question isn't why they fall, but what they were actually built to do. Because systems don't lie. Their outcomes are the proof of their function. And if every so-called great civilization crashes and burns after a couple hundred years, then their function was never survival. It was conquest. It was extraction. It was accumulation at the expense of balance. And that kind of structure always eats itself alive. America is now in its 249th year, and if you're paying attention, the seams are splitting. The wealth gap is a canyon. Trust in institutions is radioactive. The environment is telling us we're on borrowed time. We are watching a culture rot from the inside because the architecture underneath was never designed to carry this much weight. Not morally, not spiritually, not even logistically. So let's throw out the myth. Civilizations don't die young because they have to. They die because they're not built on the right foundation. If we want something that lasts, really lasts, we need to understand the 7 foundations that define a world worth the word civilized. I'm not talking about religious commandments or political talking points. I'm talking about structural principles, observable, functional, tested across time in every place that's ever tasted something real, something just, something alive. And if your system doesn't embed these, then collapse isn't a possibility. It's the design outcome. Foundation 1 is wisdom, not cleverness, not intelligence. Wisdom is the ability to see the whole, to recognize patterns before they crash into you. It means building systems that adapt instead of calcify. Wisdom is why you don't build cities that flood. It's why you don't run economies on the fantasy that the earth is infinite. And it's why no healthy society treats education like an afterthought. If your system can't learn, it can't live. Foundation 2 is love. Stripped of romance, stripped of sentimentality, love is the recognition that every life matters in a non-negotiable way. A real civilization doesn't just protect its people. It refuses to treat anyone as expendable. It doesn't leave folks to die because they picked the wrong parents or lost the wrong job. Love is the unseen infrastructure that keeps a society from cannibalizing its most vulnerable. If your system doesn't prioritize care, what the fuck is it doing? Foundation 3 is respect. Not in the authoritarian sense, not in the bow your head, know your place bullshit. Respect is balance. It's the practice of honoring boundaries, differences, and limits. Human, ecological, philosophical. It's why you don't let power go unchecked. It's why you don't pave over every forest and call it growth. If your system rewards dominance instead of balance, you've already started the clock on collapse. Foundation 4 is bravery. But not conquest, not the kind of bravery that sends poor people to die in rich people's wars. I'm talking about moral courage, the structural defense against decay. Bravery is how a system resists its own worst instincts. It's how you hold truth when lies are convenient, how you protect the sacred when desecration turns a profit. A civilization without built-in bravery will fold the second its values become inconvenient. Foundation 5 is honesty, not as a virtue, but as a mechanism. Honesty means alignment between what a system says and what it actually does. If you have laws that say justice for all, but only the rich walk free, your system is lying. If you say you're a democracy but rig elections and suppress dissent, your system is lying. And the thing about lies, they can't hold weight. The bigger they get, the harder they crash. Foundation 6 is humility. This one's the killer. The moment a civilization believes it's immortal, chosen, superior, exceptional, it's already fucked. Humility isn't weakness. It's the only thing that lets a system course correct. It's the ability to listen to voices it tried to silence, to stop doing harm when the harm is profitable, to step back before stepping forward. Humility is the self-awareness that keeps power from metastasizing. No humility, no future. And Foundation 7 is truth, not opinion, not consensus. Truth as the convergence of the six. When wisdom discerns, love protects, respect balances, bravery defends, honesty aligns, and humility keeps it all in check. Then and only then do you get truth. Not as a static thing, but as a living synthesis. Truth is the signal that the system is in harmony. And when it disappears, the whole structure warps until it finally shatters. So back to that 250-year myth. It's not destiny. It's diagnosis. We keep building systems that reward hoarding, punishment, and delusion, that confuse empire for civilization, that mistake power for virtue, that treat the world like a resource bank and people like collateral. So of course they fell. Not because civilizations can't last, but because ours keep being wired to self-destruct. But what if we stopped? What if we started building for harmony instead of hierarchy, for function instead of fantasy? What if our systems were designed not to dominate, but to endure? What if we finally understood that to be civilized isn't about technology or GDP or military might, but about these 7 foundations wired into every layer of the world we're trying to build? That's how we break the cycle. That's how we outlive the myth. The time isn't up because 250 years passed. The time is up because we haven't built a civilization yet. Just a very sophisticated machine for collapse. Let's change that before it writes us out of history like all of the rest.